Hello and thank you for joining me. Today's video is on character and paragraph styles in Adobe InDesign. I'm currently working in Adobe InDesign Creative Cloud 2020. However, these features do go back through many previous versions of Adobe InDesign. So whichever version you're working in, these tips and tricks should be able to work for you in whichever version you're working in. So just a little review of what character and paragraph styles are and why you want to use them. Character and paragraph styles allow you to save a set of attributes to a style that you can then apply throughout your document. So looking at our example here for a menu, this is definitely the kind of place where you would want to use character and paragraph styles in your design. I have the same text attributes applied to all of these dish titles as well as the same style applied to the description about them. So instead of having to go through manually and adjust the type attributes for all of these paragraphs, I definitely want to save some styles. Doing this will make it more efficient for working in my design because I can more quickly apply styles than I can the variety of different attributes that I need to apply to this text. Additionally, it makes it more efficient for editing. If I need to make any changes, I decide to change what font I'm using, what color is applied, I can do that very quickly by updating the style instead of having to go through each individual item and change those attributes. So to get started, I have a sample here that I want to recreate. I have my artwork here on the page, and I do have a text file that includes the menu text for this. So I'm going to go ahead and open my menu text document. Here. When this opens slowly, try and open that again, see if this does better. Okay. Yeah, I can do a read-only copy, that's fine. So I do want to just select all of this text, and I'm hitting Control-C on a PC, but it would be Command-C on a Mac to copy this text, and go ahead and close this document. I'm going to go back into InDesign, and here I'm going to use text columns because I see that there's two columns of text here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a text box. Probably make that a little shorter so it doesn't cover up my artwork here. And paste my text. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and make this two columns. So I'm going to go into my Object menu and choose Text Frame Options. This allows me to make modifications to the text box itself, not necessarily the text within it. So I do want this to be two columns. And I'm going to hit the preview button to update this live on the page so I can see what I'm doing. I see from the example there's a pretty wide gutter here, and I want to replicate that. So I am going to make some adjustments here to my gutter spacing. The gutter is just the space between the columns, and I'm going to hit OK. So for this example, I want to go ahead and format this first chunk of text. I'm going to format it live on my text on my page, and then I'm going to save that as a paragraph style to apply to the rest of the paragraphs in my design. Before I move into that, I do want to explain a little bit of the differences between paragraph and character styles. For this document, I definitely need to make sure that I have my character and paragraph panels open so I can format my text. If you do not have these open, be sure to go to Window and choose Type and Tables, and make sure you open your character and paragraph windows. Additionally, because I do want to save these as styles, I want to make sure that my paragraph styles and character styles windows are open. If you do not have these open, these actually live under the Type menu, not the Window menu. So I would go to Type and make sure that I turn on or select character styles and paragraph styles. So it's important to note the differences between paragraph and character styles. One of the biggest things that I see people doing incorrectly with styles is that they usually create character styles when they should be creating paragraph styles. The biggest difference is that paragraph styles apply to the entire paragraph, and character styles will apply to individual characters. So InDesign knows when there's a new paragraph based on when you hit the Enter or Return key. that tells it you have started a new paragraph and it will apply styles based on that. The other difference between paragraph and character styles is that character styles will only save the attributes that are different from the paragraph style. By default, InDesign has basic paragraph and none already applied. So if I select this paragraph, I see that it has basic paragraph applied. That is the default settings. You can edit your basic paragraph style. However, you cannot delete it. It is an integral component of how InDesign works. So for us, instead of editing the basic paragraph, we are going to create some of our own new styles. But whatever is different from the settings in the paragraph styles is what the character styles will pick up. So where that causes problems sometimes is that if the only thing that is different between the character style I save and the paragraph style that was applied is, say, the color orange, then when I apply my character style, it will only make the text orange. It would not update it to use a specific font, a specific size, things like that. It only picks up what's different. So to get started here, I want to go ahead and kind of format my text based on what I see here. So I see that I have a sans serif font for both the title and the description. I see that I have all caps and the color orange applied. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit to start formatting this text. What I'm going to do is format the first paragraph, and I know this is really hard to see because it's black on black. So we're going to go ahead and just make all of this white to make it a little bit easier to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and format this first paragraph of text, or this first item, because I do have two paragraphs here. And I am going to go ahead and turn on my hidden characters so we can see where the paragraphs start and end. So that is under the type menu, show hidden characters. This is my new paragraph symbol. So I know that after this, a new paragraph starts. After this, a new paragraph starts. So what I know here is that I'm going to style this one way and style this another way. I'm going to end up with two different paragraph styles. So I am going to go ahead and format both of these to be a sans serif font that I want to use. And a fun feature in the newer versions of Adobe Creative Cloud Editions do allow you to filter your fonts by style. So I'm going to go ahead and choose sans serif. And I want to use something that just about everybody has. So even though this may not be the strongest design choice, I am going to work with Arial here because I'm pretty sure that is on just about every computer everywhere, or some version of it. So I've formatted this. 12 point is a little large. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough room on my page for that. So I'm going to go ahead and style this body copy to be 12 point, or excuse me, 10 point. I'm going to style this to be larger and bold. So I do want it to be bold. I'm going to go ahead and make it larger, maybe about 24 point, about twice as large. That looks really big, maybe 20. I am going to open up my swatches window and create a new swatch for this orange color that I want to use. So that is under Window and Color. I'm going to choose Swatches. To create a new swatch, I need to select something that isn't paper. I'm going to go ahead and start with this red. I'm not going to use red, but I'm going to use it as the basis for this. To create a new swatch, I can just click the new swatch button, but I'm actually going to go ahead and hold the Alt key down when I hit the new swatch button, because that will automatically launch the dialog box to create a new swatch. I do want this to be process color. I do want it to be CMYK, but I do want to go ahead and make edits to what this color is. I definitely don't want any cyan in my orange. And I know that a good color mix for orange is about 50% magenta and 100% yellow. I think I want this to be just a little bit more orange, so I think I'm going to go with 60% magenta. That's a nice rich orange color. I am going to go ahead and leave this named with the color value. I could choose to uncheck this and name this color orange, but I can look at it in my list and see that it's orange. So I've added a new swatch here, and because I had this text selected when I created that swatch, it automatically applied that color. Additionally, one other thing that I want to do is go ahead and select this and apply the all caps style to it. This is really convenient that I can apply an all caps style and that I don't have to actually go in and change the font to being typed out in all caps. I don't have to retype it, any of those things. I can just apply this style. What's also convenient about this is it will save that in the paragraph style I create, so that no matter what text I apply this style to, it will convert it to all caps. One additional thing that I want to do to make this look more like my menu sample, when I got this text, it had a tab character in place, but we can see here that that's not exactly a lot of space. A convenient tool that we can use in Adobe InDesign is a Shift tab. If I hold down the Shift key and then press Tab, it gives me one tab character, but it will push this text to the outside edge of the box. This is going to be really convenient when I apply this style to the other parts of this text to make sure that all of these price points are lined up evenly, all of these prices here. So I have this text formatted how I like it. I want to apply it to the rest of my text. Instead of going through manually and selecting the text, I could use my eyedropper tool to apply some of this text formatting. However, that would be very time consuming and I don't want to do that. So to make this much more efficient, I'm going to save these as styles. Since I have my text formatted, I can go ahead and select my text and then save that as a style. If I look here, I see that there is a plus sign next to basic paragraph in my paragraph styles menu. What that means is that there has been an override applied. I have text attributes applied here that deviate from the basic paragraph style. And that would be expected. Anytime you make any changes, it's going to deviate from the style. So for me, I want to save this as its own style because this is applied to the entire paragraph. Even though this is one line, it's still a whole paragraph because it ends with the new paragraph character. So I do need to save this as a paragraph style. I can select any portion of this text. I don't have to select the entire thing. I can click on the New Paragraph Styles button, and that would create a new style. Let's take a look at that. It does create a new style that is Paragraph Style 1. It is really important to use unique names for these styles so that you know what you're working with and where they apply. There's two ways to create unique names that I've used that work well. One is I either name it by the thing that it's going to be applied to, example, headline, body copy, things like that. Or I tend to use this more a little bit with character styles. I may choose to call it by the attributes that it's using. So I might call this bold orange all caps. Either way, I want to have a unique name for it because it gets very confusing quickly to have paragraph style 1, style 2, style 3, and not knowing what they are or where they need to be applied. So I'm actually going to hit undo because I don't want to have this paragraph style 1. What's really more convenient, again, if I hit Alt, the Alt key, and click on Create New Style, this will automatically launch the dialog box for a new paragraph style. The very first thing I want to do is give it a unique name. I'm going to call this my dish style. I guess I could call it entree. In this instance, I really do not want it based on any other paragraph style because if I attach it to another style, anytime I make changes to that style, it would update this one. At this point, we are not going to look at the next style options. What we're going to look at is the basic character formats. So I can see that it's going to save into this style that the font family is Arial and bold, 20 point on 24 point leading, that it is set for all caps. So if I wanted to change that here, I could use normal, small caps, all caps. The tracking and its position. Pretty much anything that you could apply to text is in this new paragraph style menu. I have advanced character formats for horizontal scale and skew, indents and spacing. This is very useful when you're formatting long blocks of text and or bulleted lists. Additionally, my tabs, I can set those here. Paragraph rules, border, shading, on down the line. So pretty much any menu that you have in InDesign that you could use to edit text with is going to be available in this new paragraph style menu. For us, we're just basically looking at the basic character formats. Additionally, we are looking at character color. So I have my list of swatches here. I could choose a tint, whether it overprints. If I was choosing here, I would also have a few little stroke options if I was using the stroke instead of the fill. So I have what I want. I don't need to make any changes at this point. So I have a new style created. I'm going to click OK. I see that this is added to my list here. However, I do also notice that with this text selected, it still shows me that this is basic paragraph applied with the plus sign indicating overrides. So if I want to apply this style to this text, I need to have any part of this paragraph selected and click on Dish to apply the style. Now I see that when I select this, it is showing that the style used is Dish. So I'm going to repeat that process. For this paragraph here, my item description, I want to save this as a style as well. Since the attributes that I have applied are applied consistently throughout this paragraph, again, I'm going to use a paragraph style. So with this text selected, I'm going to hold down Alt and click the New Style button, and I'm going to give this a unique name as well. So for this style name, I want to use Dish Description. It is based on no style. It has no next style applied. So here I have two different styles created, Dish and Dish Description. And again, I see here that even though I had this selected when I created the Dish Description style, it did not apply it. So I do need to go ahead and apply it here. I have my Dish Description. So now I'm going to go through my text and I'm going to apply these styles. Applying these styles is very convenient because all I have to do is select the text and then choose which style I want to apply. Because this is a little bit difficult to look at, I am going to select the rest of this text and go ahead and apply the Dish Description so that I can see all of these. And I see that there is an override here based on what I had done earlier. So here I'm actually going to clear the overrides. So I'm not clearing the style, I'm just clearing any overrides that are applied to it. So now all of my descriptions correctly have the Dish Description style applied. So now I just need to go through, I can click in any of these paragraphs for the dish title and apply the dish paragraph style. Now I have my text formatted how I would like it. However, I see that this is not exactly looking like what I wanted. I wanted it to look more like this. So here is where using styles really becomes very, very handy because I don't want to have to go back through and adjust sizes and colors or fonts for all of these different paragraphs just to make this fit. So here is where, and I want to make sure that I don't have anything selected so I don't apply any overrides. Here's where using styles can really benefit you because I need to make some updates and changes to these styles. And if I work with my styles directly, it will automatically update any of the text that the style is applied to. So here I know that I need to adjust the dish style because this text is too large. It is causing it to break into 2 lines instead of 1 in several examples. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on Dish to launch the dialog box. One of the big things that I want to do here is make sure I turn on preview so I can see these changes as they apply and make sure I'm making the appropriate amount of changes. So mostly here I'm going to go and adjust the size. That is under my basic character formats. So I had this as 20-point text, but it's going to be too large for what I have here. And that's about twice as large as the item description. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller until all of these fit on one line. Perfect. Now they all fit on one line. And actually make that just a hair smaller because I do want a little bit of space here. So we can see how easy that was. I didn't have to go through each individual line and change its size to get it right. If I'm updating the style and I have my style successfully applied in my document, it makes formatting this text so much easier and much more efficient. Additionally, it makes it more accurate. It can be very easy when you're working with long blocks of text or long documents that maybe you miss one or two boxes of text and then you have inconsistencies within your document that don't look good. If you have successfully applied all of your styles, then when you update these styles, it's very easy to make sure that you've gotten everything. So here I'm going to hit OK. We may use some other formatting tools to help us with our text. What I have seen here, I like how this one is formatted using a shift tab, whereas these other ones use just a tab character, and we see how that changes its placement within the box. So I'm actually going to use the Find and Replace feature. So under the Edit menu, I want to find and change. That is also Control or Command F for your keyboard shortcuts. So first I want to find these tab characters, and I actually can copy and paste these invisible characters. So I'm hitting Control or Command C to paste that tab character, and you see it does convert it to a text code. Additionally, you can choose from a pre-formatted list of things that you might choose from to find and replace. So I do want to change this to from a regular tab character to a shift tab character. So I'm going to copy this one and change it to, and now I'm going to change all. It made 7 replacements. So again, so much easier to use the find and change as opposed to trying to manually go in and select each tab character and replace it with a tab character. So this is looking pretty good, but if we go back to looking at our example, we have a bit more space here. These are spaced out. So we're going to use some additional features of paragraph spacing. In this instance, I'm probably going to apply my paragraph spacing to the item description or the dish description. I want to add just a little bit of space above the paragraph and a bit more space below the paragraph. So I could format this text how I wanted it to and then update or redefine my style. However, since I have these styles applied, I am going to go ahead and just update this style using the paragraph styles menu. So I'm going to double click on dish description to launch my paragraph styles options dialog box. Here I want to choose my indents and spacing. Here I have what the alignment is, so if I wanted all of this to be centered, I could change that very quickly. Indents, first line indents. Basically, this represents this portion of your paragraph menu. So I'm going to apply a little bit of space before, and I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard to make these adjustments. So I want just a little bit of space before. I probably want about double the space after. So I want a little bit of space between the description and the item, but I want to know that these two items are related to each other. So I want a little bit more space between this set of items and this set of items. I think I might give that just a little bit more space. And now this looks pretty good. And we see that that easily updates everything in my layout here. So instead of having to go manually and adjust all of these items, all these paragraphs, I can just update the description style to use the spacing that I want. So now I'm just going to adjust the size of my text box so it's more balanced. And now I see that I have 4 items here and 4 items here. Very similar to what I had here in the sample. So again, because I only have one style applied to each paragraph, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph. I only have one set of attributes applied within the paragraph. I can use my paragraph styles, and this works very well. However, if I want to have more than one style applied within a paragraph, that's where character styles come into play. And character styles can be very useful because they are applied over the paragraph style. So I can have my paragraph style applied, and then on top of it, I can apply some exceptions using my character styles. So to create a character style, you would do the same as you did for paragraph styles. I might format my text and then save it as a style. So here, what if I decided that I want my prices to be a gold yellow color instead of the orange? I want them to stand out just a little bit. So again, I'm going to go back to my swatches panel. I'm going to select this color. I'm going to hold down Alt to create a new swatch. Hold down Alt, new swatch. And in this case, I want it to be more of a yellow, more of a goldenrod yellow. So I don't want 100% yellow. I'm probably going to do about 20% magenta, maybe 25, to make it a little more golden, but it is certainly not orange. Now I could manually go through and just apply this swatch to all the prices. But again, what happens, that's time consuming and tedious. What happens if my customer comes back and says, no, I want that to be red instead of goldenrod? I do want to save this as a style to make it easier to apply. If I save this as a paragraph style, whenever I apply it, it would apply to the whole paragraph. Since I only want this to apply to the price, I'm going to save this as a character style. So again, I'm going to hold down Alt and create a new character style. And in this case, I'm going to call this gold price because I do have it as gold. If I ever have to change this color later, I might update the style name to be green price or whatever color I may be choosing. What's important to note is that when we go to the basic paragraph character formats here, I see that all of these are left blank, because the only thing that this style is picking up is that it's going to be gold, that it is a different color. So I see that it does apply a character color. So that's important to note, that if I have Arial 15 point bold, when I save this style, it is only picking up the gold. So if I apply this character style to other text that is formatted differently, it will only apply the gold to that text and will not make it Arial bold, all caps, any of those parts of the paragraph style that we previously created. For what we're doing, that's fine. I just want to be able to make sure that this is gold. So I have my gold price and hit OK. So now I see that I can go here and select my text and apply the gold price. We will see that both the paragraph style for dish is applied as well as the character style for gold price is applied. So I can manually go through here and change all my prices to gold. Now, if I wanted to go back and change what color this is, I could update my style and choose a different color. And we see that it would change all of the prices that we applied the style to. Again, it's important to remember that you actually apply the style when you create it, because it does not do that by default. So even though this is what the text that I used to create my style, it didn't actually apply it. It's also important to note that with paragraph styles, I can click anywhere in the paragraph and apply the style because it applies to the whole paragraph. When you are applying character styles, you need to be very careful and aware of what you have selected to make sure it applies to only the text you want it applied to. So I'm going to go back and change this gold back to gold instead of green. And if I have my preview box checked, I will see that updated before I hit OK. So now we've seen how to create and apply character and paragraph styles and where they're useful. For formatting text like this, it is much more useful to use styles than to have to manually apply text attributes to every line of text within this document. The additional benefit of using your character and paragraph styles is your ability to nest and loop styles. So we are going to take a look at how you can use nested styles to make this much easier to apply. I know that in every instance here, I see in my first box, I have this formatted how I want it, but my second box is not formatted the same way. I do want this character style applied. If I know that this is going to happen consistently throughout my document, instead of having to go through and manually apply these character styles where it's needed, an additional benefit of the styles in InDesign is the ability to nest character styles within a paragraph style, so that whenever I apply the paragraph style, it will automatically apply my character style. It's important that when you're using nested styles, that your text formatting has consistency. If sometimes I had a price and sometimes I had text, then nesting my style would not be very effective because it might apply it where I don't want it. Since I consistently have this title in these text attributes and this price in these attributes, then I can use my nested styles. Nested styles, in order to create them, first you have to have a paragraph style and you have to have a character style created. When you have those created, then you can choose to nest the character style within the paragraph style. So since I already have this paragraph style created for dish, and I already have the character style created for the price color, I want to nest this style into this. So I am going to double click to edit my dish style. And here's where I'm going to take a look at my drop caps and nested styles. So this is where you could create a drop cap style for your text. That's more useful for more editorial layout where you might be using drop caps. Here we are going to use a nested style. Basically what we're doing here in this window is programming what style gets used where. In this instance, I have my paragraph style applied first, and then I have a character style applied at the end. So to choose that, I want to create a new nested style. And in this instance, I'm actually going to use no character style, and I can choose through or up to, however many number. I can choose words. I do have a drop down here for different things that I can use. Additionally, I can type in this field. So there are some times where you want to say through or up to a certain character. That's useful for things like your dollar signs, colons, periods, things like that. Sometimes you can use that as the indicator of where this style should change. But because I have a tab character here, that's much easier to use. So I am going to choose to use none through one tab character. And I'm going to move this window open because if I have my preview applied, I manually applied the character style here in this box, but I have not done that here. And because I am updating this style and it's applying, I will be able to see what it's doing here as I'm nesting the style. So I'm using no character styles, none, through the first tab character. Now I need to set the character style for the price. So I'm going to say new nested style. And I'm going to choose the character style that I created for gold price. And because this price, it does have a period in there, so I'm afraid that it's going to think that through one word, maybe through that. So I'm going to say through one sentence. It's going to be through the end of the sentence. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So here I need to update the style. I do want to apply dish. I'm not sure why that did not do what it's supposed to. Let me open this back up and take a look at my drop caps and nested styles. We will do through forced line break, see if that updates it. Apply dish. And actually, I think what's wrong with this is that it is not recognizing this as a tab character. So I'm actually going to copy this character. And I'm going to double click to edit my style, go back to my drop caps and nested styles. And here, instead of saying through one tab character, because this is a slightly different character than a traditional tab character, and I'm going to paste that code in. Now I see that it correctly identifies that this is where the style should change. And you see that it automatically updated. If I select this, I do see that the paragraph style is applied. It does not show me that this is applying the gold price character style when I select this because it is nested into this paragraph style. So I did not even have to update or reapply my styles because as soon as I nested this gold price style correctly into my dish style, it did automatically apply this change. So now whenever I make changes to this, because it's already nested in, it will go ahead and apply that. What's nice about using styles is that they do carry through. So if I continue to type text, it's going to use whatever the last style used was. So this was using dish description. So if I added a new item here and I said steak and cheese, and I use my shift tab character and I type in a price, and I add a description here, add description here, I can select any part of this paragraph and apply my dish title, and it will automatically apply this paragraph style and this character style. So that's a review of how you can create paragraph and character styles, why you would choose to create one versus the other. When in doubt, you're usually creating paragraph styles. The only time you create character styles is when you need to apply a style that is separate from the rest of the paragraph, but it's within one paragraph. If my prices were not on the same line as the title, if I had the dish title and then a new paragraph and then the price and then a new paragraph, then the description, then I would use 3 paragraph styles. But because I have this style applied and this is within the same paragraph as the title, I do need to create the character style. And then to make it easier to apply so that I don't have to go and apply styles twice, I don't want to apply the style for the dish title for all of these and then have to go back and apply the character style for all of these. I can nest it into my paragraph style. One last thing that we're going to take a look at, nested styles are very convenient to use to make it easier to apply your text to your text. Additionally, there is a feature for using a next style. This creates what I refer to as looped styles, where I can say, apply this style, then apply the next style. It's important to note that if you're going to use the then next style option in your paragraph styles, that your text is consistently formatted. I have worked on some directories of information where using loop styles is very convenient, but if somebody is missing text or has additional text that might throw off how the style is applied, sometimes that can cause you some problems. We have this very consistently formatted here. I have a title, a price, and a description, and then a title, a price, and a description that is consistently applied throughout our text. So to make this easier, since if I had formatted just this first one, I could have set up my styles to loop and then apply to all. So the first thing I'm going to take a look at is my dish title. I know that after dish, I want to apply the dish description. So I'm going to double click or right click and say edit dish in my paragraph styles menu. Here is where the based on and next style comes into play and is very convenient. I'm still not going to have this based on anything, but I do want to tell it whenever I use dish, the next paragraph following this should use my dish description style. Note that the next style here will only give you the list of paragraph styles that you have created. So I'm going to apply dish description. Additionally, I need to go to the dish description. Anytime I have dish description, I'm going to have dish following it. So I am going to right click and edit dish description. And I'm going to tell its next style to use dish. So I'm actually going to go through and delete all this text to show how easy it is to apply your styles. Since I have set this up, I have a nested character style within my dish paragraph style, and then I've told dish to always use dish description next and dish description to always use dish next. If I copy and paste my text and apply these styles, it will format all the text exactly how I want it. So I'm going to go back to my original sample text and copy and paste this. So I hit Control C on a PC or Command C on a Mac to copy. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V or Command V to paste it. And I did see that this had dish description applied to the box, so it went ahead and formatted our text that way. I do need to remember that because of how I set up my nested style, we didn't use a tab character, we used that Shift tab character. So I am going to go ahead and do a find and replace, edit, find change. And those settings are still in here from earlier. So I'm going to change a tab character to a soft tab, shift tab character. I'm going to change all. So now if I select all of my text, here I don't want to just apply dish. When I received training from an official Adobe trainer, they said a lot of times, especially when you're working with looped and nested styles, you want to right click to apply the style and then choose whatever is the longest item in the list. Sometimes it might be apply then next style. It could be apply this then next style clear overrides. It could be apply this then clear overrides clear character styles. So a good rule of thumb is that if you want it to be formatted exactly how the style was created, that you pick whichever is the longest apply option in the list. So here, if I apply dish then next style, it formats all of my text just that quickly. So because I have this style created with a nested style, it applied that appropriately, and then it knew to use this as the next style. Then it knew to use this as the next style. So this is where formatting your text could be very, very easy. Imagine if I was creating this menu and this was, say, the breakfast menu, and I have a separate document for the lunch menu and a separate document for the dinner menu. If I formatted this up front for the first one, then it makes creating the second and third ones much easier because all I have to do is paste the text, apply the style, then make any adjustments to my design that I want, and I'm done. So using your character and paragraph styles is very convenient because you can easily apply text attributes consistently throughout your document. You can easily make quick edits to your styles and your text formatting as long as it is applied. So as long as I have my styles applied to this text, anytime I want to make a change, so say I go back to dish and they don't want it to be orange, they want it to be red, I can just edit dish, go to my character color, and change it to red. And it updates everywhere in my document. That is so much faster to make updates than it is to manually have to go in and select this text and make changes. You can know that somebody, I worked with a team where we all worked behind each other all the time, and I could go in there and see. So say here, I decided to manually change the color to green. I see that this little plus sign shows up. That shows me that an override has been applied. So instead of updating the style, in this instance, we just changed the color directly to the text. Now there's an override to this style. There are some instances where you're just gonna have to do that. Sometimes you end up with overrides to styles for things that you really can't save in a style, things like kerning. If I have to do specific kerning to letters, that's not gonna be something that I wanna save in the style because I don't want it to apply to everything. Kerning is very custom to the specific letter combinations that you have. So sometimes you might have overrides there. But things that are going to be consistent throughout your styling, your color, your font, your size, things like that, you really shouldn't be using overrides. So if I wanted this to be the style I want to use throughout, I can right-click and say redefine style, and that would update the style as it's applied. If that's not what I wanted to do, I'm hitting Control Z or Command Z. I go, oh, you know what? That's overwriting the style and that's not what I want. I can come here and clear overrides. And that puts it back to the style. I see that it removes the plus sign, so there are no overrides applied to this text. I hope you find this useful in formatting your documents. It is much more efficient and accurate for styling lots of text in your documents. I hope you use this frequently throughout your designs because it is a very useful tool. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this demonstration on how this might be used in working with a menu. Thank you.